Above the cosmic comics, games, and collectibles, your zen of geekism. We carry comics old and new, magazines, toys, games like Pokemon, Magic, D&D. Want Godzilla, Ultraman, Star Trek, Ninja Turtles, Funko Pops? You'll find it all here. Shop our Cosmic Sound Room and pick up a record or two. Enjoy our Comic Coffee Lounge with a cup of Sasquatch coffee while geeking out over a super cool movie on our big screen. Cosmic Comic, Games, and Collectibles. Superman loves us, and so will you.
Hi everyone, Jason Hunt here, inviting you to join us every Saturday morning for news, the week's headlines in science fiction, fantasy, horror, comic books, video games, plus Comic-Con updates and the weather, and the occasional interview along the way. We call it Good Morning Multiverse. We hope you join us every Saturday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 Central, right here on Sci-Fi for Me TV.
We've crossed paths more than once. I've whispered in your ear, shown you harmless little temptations. I am unknowable, yet you know me intimately. But you can always know me better. Collected here are 20 twisted tales that will thrill, chill, incite, and delight you from some of the most imaginative minds your species has to offer. This exclusive Indiegogo printing of The Devil You Know Better will be limited and numbered, with signatures from Mike Barron and Hart D. Fisher. Stretch goals achieved for this campaign will add interior chapter illustrations by Stefano Cardacelli. The Devil You Know Better. Back it on Indiegogo today, while you still can.
Hi, and welcome to our Kickstarter. I am Roland, Mann, and I run Silverline Comics, and this is our 19th Kickstarter. Yes, 19! We have successfully funded and fulfilled 17. Why not 18, you ask? Because we're still in the middle of shipping those books. So it'll make it. We're just now in July. So it's going to be on time. But I'm here to tell you about the next one. This time we've got 3 comics in one Kickstarter. But I will shut up yakking, and I'm going to let me tell you about TRUMPS. Take it away, Roland. Hi. Let me tell you about TRUMPS. TRUMPS is a superhero sci-fi story set on the deck. Yes, it's about playing cards. There are 4 kingdoms at war. You might guess: hearts, spades, diamonds, and clubs. Yes, they're at war. The one who wins, the one who has the most power, can declare themselves Trump. We don't know who that's going to be. You don't know who that's going to be yet because you got to back the Kickstarter to find out who's going to win. Which kingdom will be declared Trump's. This is number 3 in a 4-issue miniseries, and I'm happy to tell you 4 is so close to being done. We'll be kickstarting it very soon.
Hi, this is John Crowther. I am the writer and co-creator, along with artist Del Barris, of the Teen Beetle series, and I am excited to announce that we are coming back to Kickstarter with Silverline. And once again, we are seeing Teen Beetle in his battle with Dr. Mantis, as Dr. Mantis is trying his hardest to seize the formula for vitamin 2X. And as you know, that is how Teen Beetle gets its powers. So join us. I invite you to join us. Pick up this second exciting issue and get ready for the third one too.
Switchblade is the story of Scott Nathans. Set in New Orleans, Scott is just a small-time boxer hanging out trying to make day-to-day. But he gets fed up with the justice system when a couple of killers are let loose by the justice system because the policeman forgot to read them their Miranda rights. And everyone knows that they killed this little girl and did nasty, despicable things to him. So Scott decides to take justice into his own hands, and he becomes a Switchblade. It's a 3-issue miniseries, and it's set in the world of cat and mouse, so hope you come along. Don't those sound exciting? Yes, the answer is yes. The answer is yes, they do sound exciting. And you want them. You know you do. You know you want to pledge. You know you want to push that little button that says pledge. So that's what we need you to do. We need you to go pick out a tier, probably the extravaganza that has all 3 of them so that you can get all 3 books. Pick out that tier, pledge, and then tell all of your friends. But look, I know this is tough times. If you can't pledge, do us a favor, share it. Share it with people and say, hey, these are cool people. They make comic books. They ship comic books. You're going to like them. Go support them. Thank you. And remember to make mine Silverline.
And good evening, everybody. I am RJ Carter, Senior Managing Editor here at CriticalBlast.com, Chief Envelope Licker for Critical Blast Logistics, myopic proofreader for Critical Blast Publishing, and I will occasionally answer the phones if I have time for all of your data processing needs regarding your Kickstarter for Critical Blast Consulting. If find me a niche that's not being filled, and we'll open up another Critical Blast, whatever it is that needs to be done. That's the beauty of it. That's how it works. That's called branding. It's also called overextending yourself, but I'll worry about that with once the heart attack sets in. I've got plenty of time to recover. I'll figure out where I went wrong. Tonight, we are going back into the world of crowdfunded comics, and we are going to go to Kickstarter for another Silverline extravaganza. This is the first of 3 nights in a row where we will be talking with Silverline about their books. So we've got the week blocked out. This is just something we do every couple of months because Silverline puts out a new Kickstarter every couple of months. It's on a schedule, and you know what? It's every couple of months, not every couple of years. So that's okay. Enough shade on the people who just are being a little tardy with their books. Let's welcome to the show, Mr. Roland Mann. Roland, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I appreciate that too, because that's as you recall, that's one of the things that we are pretty proud of, and one of the things that we talk about is that there are a lot of people out there who run crowdfunders, and when they're done, you wait and you wait and you wait and you wait, and I'll be honest with you, I'm still waiting for some crowdfunders I supported from like 2014, 15, 16.
Ooh.
And that's frustrating.
You're not getting those.
No, I'm not getting those. No, I'm not getting those. Another story. I backed one time from a local creator, excuse me, and he posted that he was having problems, this and that, right? And then I saw him at a show. Guess what he had?
He had the copies.
He had the copies. I didn't have my copy because he hadn't sent it to me, right? And he hadn't fulfilled any, to my knowledge anyway, any of for the backers. And so it's like, come on, dude. No, you got money to print these books. You got money to fulfill. So yeah, I appreciate you saying that, because that is something that Silverline, we are proud of. We fulfill and we ship on time. We haven't been not on time yet. Don't plan to be, and that is for 17 Kickstarters. So we're pretty proud of that.
That's the way to run it. That's the way to run it. Chat is already open for business. We have Cats Are Elite who needs some yard work done. Okay, Critical Blast leaf raking will find a way to be at your door somehow, some way. Yeah, well, I need to make money. I need to make a good deal of money. I need to make it quick. So that's why I'm doing everything. I sleep 4 hours a night. The rest of it's spent trying to sell ads, run Kickstarters.
Yeah, that is work. People don't realize it.
We'll be there. We'll be there as quick as we can. It might be a few years, but be patient. Let composting take its natural course.
That's right.
So I have read Silverline's Trumps issue number 1. Woo-hoo. I've not read number 2 yet, but I have read number 1. And one of the things where it took me back to, I'm 50 and none of your business years old. And so I've been reading a while, but where this took me back to was when I was a kid reading Amethyst, Princess of Grimworld.
Yeah.
Because, that one country divided into categories that match up with something in our world. With them, it was gems, and with yours, it's, the suits of the cards. Now, I was kind of thrown because I'm like, is the entire population of the universe 52?
Yeah.
Is there like more than one Jack? Somebody gets promoted. What? If someone kills the queen, what do? They get. So I'm curious about how this whole world operates.
Yeah. So we'll see some of that. I tried not to. So I considered, kind of an info dump kind of thing. Well, there's only one king, there's only one queen, and that kind of thing. I opted not to do that in hopes that the story would kind of.
That's the better way to do it. Yeah.
Sometimes you need to do that. Sometimes there's information that you need as a reader. You don't ever want to be confused. So hopefully you weren't confused. You can be inquisitive. But there's a difference between being an inquisitive reader and a confused reader. I believe, right? A confused reader is always a sin on the writer, right? So if you read it and you're confused, that's not on you. It's on me, right? As the writer, it means I didn't do my job. I didn't do something. Yeah. So in the world, there's just one of all of the, and I think in the second issue, it's when we start talking about face cards and pip cards, right? So, so for those who don't play cards, right? A face card is a card that has obviously a face on it, right? That's right. Then a pip card is a card that has numbers on it, right? So, so in the world, they talk about the face cards. Only the face cards. Well, that's not true. There's only one of all of the cards in a deck. It's not a pinochle deck. So you've only got one king of clubs, one queen of clubs, one jack of clubs, right? But you do pose an interesting question, something that we absolutely go into in the book of what happens when the queen dies. What do you do? Where does the new queen come from? And that is something that is discussed. So I'm a student of history. I love history. I'm mostly interested in American history. I almost got a degree. I think I told you this once before. I almost got a degree, a master's degree in American history, but I ended up quitting before I could finish. That said, European history from the 16, 17, 1800s fascinates me because all of those all the royalty over there, they were all kin to each other. You know,
Yes,
they were,
they were.
and they were. So when they went to war with each other, they were going to war with their blood. You know, it's like my sisters pissed me off. Invade. What?
Yeah, what was I watching? It wasn't Doctor Who. It couldn't have been Doctor Who, but it was something where they showed how the Archduke Ferdinand was related to the King of England, who was related to they're trying to get all the the Russian Khazar, and
Right.
they
And this
were
is just
all
100 years ago.
cousins.
That's just 100 years ago, dude.
Yeah.
You know, what Ferdinand was shot in 1914?
Yeah.
I think that's what again, that's what launched World War One. So yeah, they were all related some way, by marriages, by blood, by cousins. And so that's one of the things that I've tried to work into the story as well. So those who've read the second issue know that the two queens, the two Red Queens, are sisters. So what happens when you've only read the first issue, so I don't want to talk too much. I don't want to spoil too much. But yeah, so I explore some of that. It's I've had a lot of fun. I actually told my wife the other day, I said, I'm beginning to get confused on who's kin to who, kind of like European history. I'm beginning to get confused on who's kin to who. And so I'm actually in the process of, I don't have it here with me. I'm actually in the process of working out a genealogy.
Yeah, you gotta have that. You gotta do that. Mike Walters is in the chats, liked and shared the stream. Thank you, sir. Hope everybody else follows suit.
Hey, Mike. Good one.
And I can't help you with that one there. That's and no, it does not. In fact, they emphatically state this on the inside of the front cover.
Yeah,
this is if you bought it for that reason, you've been misled.
We tried to make sure the logo was pretty clear as to what the topic was. You see, we put playing cards on there.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Now it's. Did you find it? I mean, the conceit of a land of playing cards. Lewis Carroll obviously had a lot of fun with that.
Yeah.
But did you find it limiting in the fact that you were not just having characters that were these playing card representations, but they were also living by Hoyle. I mean, that's their society, the way they interact with each other.
Yeah, limiting? No, not really. I found it challenging because I wanted to make sure each of the kingdoms and the peoples. Well, I will tell you this, because we, as you might imagine, our title was a huge, before we launched, it was a huge topic of debate amongst us as the creators, right? It's like, okay, so we know that it has nothing to do with the former American president. But is that going to help us? Is it going to hurt us? Right. So do we want the Trump lovers to, woohoo, this is about President Trump, I want to buy the book, and then they buy it, and well, this doesn't have anything to do with President Trump, and then they call shenanigans, right?
I think it's pretty clear.
Yeah, I think so too. What's up, Pops? I think so too. But we actually toyed with giving one of the kings orange hair.
Yeah. I was going to say you couldn't help but sneak it in somewhere if I had to draw it.
Well, we decided not to. We're like, let's don't do that.
Because it's a losing proposition. If you give it to the king, they're like, oh, look, they're supporting him. They made him king. If you give it to the Joker, they're like, oh, look, they're making fun of him. They made him the fool.
Yeah.
You couldn't win.
Yeah. No. So we opted to keep the title, and with the understanding that we might get Trump haters coming at us. And also, Trump lovers coming at us. But then hopefully our hope was that they would pick up the comic and look at it and go, oh, this is a pretty doggone good looking comic.
Yes, it is.
It has nothing to do with President Trump, but it looks good. So I'm going to try it out because I like comic books.
Yes.
So,
and I'm already sitting here thinking, I don't know how issue 4 ends, but if I were writing it,
right? Yeah.
I would let it have the ending that it has, and then I would turn that last page, that cliffhanger page
where you're like, you know, you're going to draw them back for the next series. And I would just have whatever happily ever after or cliffhanger ending they've got going on. And I just pull back and pull back and pull back to the borderlands of where whatever their land is, the borderlands of the deck. And I would have a man looking through a telescope off of a tower, dressed as a fool, with a hanged man beside him. Do you see where I'm going with this? Because there's another deck that can be used. It's all populated with the tarot characters.
Oh, yeah. Gotcha. Yeah, that's actually not a bad idea.
You get used to me, Roland, when I'm doing this. I throw out all kinds of jackassery on an interview.
No, that's good. I like that. Yeah, you know, it's you know, one of the things that we talked about, you know, at the end of a card game, what happens to the cards? They've all been played, right?
Yeah, sure.
So every card in your card game, usually in most card games that I can play, you got a hand, right? You got cards in your hand, and the way you finish your game is every single one of them have been played. I'll just stop there, you know.
Okay. The old maid looks around. She says, "Where'd everybody go?"
Right? Yeah. Well, you know, one of the things that we tried to do was we wanted to make sure each kingdom, each kind of people group had their kind of unique personalities. Like, this is a kingdom that you know, they're like, for instance, the Spades, they're very much mafioso types, right? That's just who they are. The Hearts, you probably gathered this certainly from you probably gathered the Spades too, right? The Hearts, very, very much the artistic type, the musicians, the painters, that kind of stuff. So we wanted each of them to kind of have unique personalities so that they would be different, right? You don't want all the kingdoms to be the same.
No, you don't. And that creates so many other questions as well. Yeah, Mad Hatter's like, "Oops, wrong book." Yeah, I don't
right? Yeah.
Because what happens when you enter the Shakespearean Romeo and Juliet situation, where, you know, well, it would have to be with pip cards, because you can't, the queen. You actually, it's there.
It is there. Yeah,
it's already there.
In the first issue, I was kind of hoping you would go there. In the first issue, we already have the insinuation that we have the how much do you see the Jack of Diamonds and the Queen of Spades, right?
Yes.
And this is a PG-13 book, so you can't really see anything, but
it won't get us kicked off YouTube. But you can tell that blah 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 is there.
Yeah, you can tell there's some romantic interlusion time going on,
which makes you wonder what would happen. By the way, at the top of the hour, the mic stand will be going on, and Mike is going to be going over all the niche news, including some stuff from criticalblast.com tonight. So
all right.
If you haven't read it, go over there and have it read to you. But I guess where my line of questioning is leading on this is, are the suits a genetic / racial classification, or is it more of a political, philosophical classification? Can a heart become a spade just by saying I align with you now?
No. It is more of a racial. I mean, they're supposed to be aliens, right? They're not. They're humanoids, but I don't want them to be, you know, Earth people. I don't want them to be Caucasian and African and, you know, Chinese. I don't want them to be that.
Yeah, but I mean, if you're a spade by blood and genetics.
Yes,
not
correct.
Okay.
Yes. And in fact, I think in the second issue, one of the kings talks about soup mixing. She believes in soup mixing. We'll have none of that, right?
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. You know, because what happens if that produces offspring? You know, you have a black diamond, or you know, somebody with a black heart.
Right.
Hey,
Yeah.
Bap, glad to see you out there, man. Glad
Woo,
you're
Bap.
popping in. Thank you. And by the way, for everybody who's curious enough about what this is all about now, right below the video, down there, there's the link to Kickstarter. That would be this Kickstarter right here. So
Yes.
don't be shy. Go out there and hit it. We're at 59 backers right now. Let me
Yep.
say that out loud to remember that number. Just in case it's bigger later on.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, so that's where I'm going, Studio 38. It would be interesting to know what a Spart looked like. It'd be like a red heart turned upside down with a black stem coming out of it or something.
Right. Yeah. Well, yeah, that's we do talk about in this story. There is going to be some talk about sort of soup mixing. We won't get into the offspring in this particular story. So that may if this goes over well, if we do well, then maybe that's something that I'll play with in the future. But yeah. So but we do talk about the kings. One of the kings does particularly talk about soup mixing. And you can tell by the way he says it's he believes it's a very bad idea.
Yeah, because I'd like to see it progress on that. Bap 2 has just confessed to us that he has backed this.
Yes,
and the devil you know better.
Thank you, Bap.
Thank you so much on both of those things. That is that's what we call our shake and bake moment, Roland, and it goes a little something like this.
Shake and bake, and I help.
I love that.
always appreciate when somebody in our chat helps a campaign, especially ours.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
we hardly ever have a campaign. This is the first one we've run in. We had a trial campaign several years back, and I was like, okay, I'm done with that. I'm never doing that again.
Oh, they're hard.
They are, and they don't run themselves. It's like
they do not.
Oh, wait, I've got to be the person on the other side of the camera now for a while. Not great with that. Nicholas Gear, thank you for showing up. Good to see you out there, my friend.
Well, and the thing I think you learn too is that you need help. You need people to help you. You need, and I'll tell you, my wife is really in the last I don't know, half a year or so, maybe a little bit longer than that. My wife has kicked it into high gear. She is just because I needed help doing the social media. I'm like, here's the things I want to do, but I can't do because I don't have to, because I have a full-time job, right?
Sure.
It's like I want to do this, but I have to do these things, and I'm like I'm struggling. And she's like, well, why don't you show me what you're doing? And so we sat down, and dude, I am telling you, she took it and just ran with it, and I love it.
Took to it like a duck to water, and
she did. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, if you scroll down there, you can see some of the covers. There you go.
That's what I'm getting to there. Okay, so we got these are the PDF covers.
Yep, those the Team Beetle has now been inked. I have not updated that image yet, but it is inked, and it is with the colorist. I think I heard from the inker today on the Switchblade cover that he should have it scanned to me for tomorrow. So I'm hoping that that will be inked, and I'll get that to a colorist as well. And then those are the Kickstarter covers. That's a Stephen Butler homage cover for Trumps. For those of you who might recognize it, that's Avengers number 140. Shoot, is it 141 or 142?
I was going to say I thought that was the Justice League facing off against the Freedom Fighters, but
I think it's 141. Let me peek at it's Avengers number 141, the Avengers versus the Squadron Supreme. So that's Stephen Butler, inked by Thomas Flormonti, and then colored by Mickey Clausen. The Switchblade Kickstarter exclusive cover is by Mike Belcher, and then the Team Beetle Kickstarter exclusive cover is by Ben Dunn from Ninja High School, or Warrior Nun. A lot of people know Warrior Nun from the Netflix
Ariella
show.
Yes.
Mm-hmm, yep. And I think that was colored by Jerry Lou Smith. So, but you'll learn more about that one tomorrow.
Yeah, we don't want to get ahead of ourselves here.
No.
So these characters in the book, they are aliens.
Yeah.
Why are they card suits? And when I say that, obviously you had like hey, let's we'll base around card suits. what is their connection between what we have as cards and their society? Who came first?
I'm not sure I understand the question completely.
Did they like base their society off of an Earth game, or is the Earth game built around this society that somebody encountered?
They're unaware. They are
okay,
they're unaware.
Disconnected.
They are just a society. They are a society that exists, and there is a kingdom of hearts. There's a kingdom of clubs, a kingdom of spades, a kingdom of diamonds. Right? They are not aware that there's a card game. They are not aware that this is. They just exist as they are. Right? They refer to God as the dealer. Right? Their time is measured in hands, and seasons are measured in shuffles. So they use card terminology, but they are not aware that they are playing cards.
Now that makes so they're not aware, but that makes me wonder if there's still a greater connection, as if they're like a metaphysical plane, impacted by the thoughts of human beings. I think I'm getting into Grant Morrison territory now, and I don't have the right drugs for that.
I will say that's kind of how the idea germinated, and so I'll just leave it as that's a very real possibility that could be the case.
I mean, if you remember Through the Looking Glass, the second Alice book, the chess board was a game in our world, but when she went through, the characters became living little chess people, unaware that they were pawns and tokens on a game board.
Right. But Alice was aware.
Oh, Alice was aware. Alice was like fourth dimensional looking into three dimensional. She had that oversight to it, but
we have no Alice in the story.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You don't have that perspective on it, so it left me wondering how it connected, if it connected at all.
Yeah. That's a good question. I like that.
So is issue 4 it? I mean, this was the story you had to tell, or is this going to be ongoing?
No, issue 4 is the end of the story. But again, I mean, it's like any story. If this, if it goes over well, if we find that people like it, and there's enough desire for I can tell more stories. Yeah.
it's a world, so
it is
just a cast of characters. You can always tell different stories.
Well, and they've got the relationships that have been built up throughout the course of this story. So we'll those can always be advanced further. So yeah, then you got B covers there, which are variant covers. That Trumps cover is penciled by Peter Quinton, who is the penciler for Trumps number 4, inked by Thomas Formonti, and it is being colored right now by Mickey Clausen. The Switchblade cover then is also penciled by Peter Quinton, and inked by Jose Fuentes and colored by Roberta Conroy. And then the Teen Beetle cover is by Del Barris, and then colored by Jeremy Kahn, who also colors the interiors.
We'll talk about this tomorrow, but because I can't remember if Peter Quinton is the artist on Cat and Mouse or not, but I can look at that Switchblade cover. I'm like, that's set in the world of Cat and Mouse. I can just tell by the art.
Yes, it is. Yeah. Peter Quinton's the guy who penciled Silverline Team Up that had Miss Fury and Champion.
Okay.
So and it's very much set in the world of Cat and Mouse.
Nicholas, you'll want to be here Wednesday when we take a deeper dive into Teen Beetle. Tomorrow's Teen Beetle. Okay.
Tomorrow's Teen Beetle. Tuesday.
Teen Beetle tomorrow, and then Switchblade Wednesday. Okay. Yeah. Come back tomorrow. Don't leave now.
Right. Yeah. But John will be here tomorrow to talk about Teen Beetle. Very cool. The retro editions, we started doing those because, I got my start in the black and white comics in the late 80s, and independent comics. Then you just didn't, for the most part, you did not print in color because you couldn't afford it.
Sure.
And so we had some people tell us, oh, it's too bad you guys aren't doing these in black and white still. And I'm like, we could do that. And so because it's so easy,
you take the layer off and there you go.
That's right. Yep. So we do. And what I did is the covers, if you bought any Silverline comics in the late 90s, that's the layout. We had the logo along the bottom. Then we had the little box that had the price. We probably had the month and the date as well at the time. And then our names across it. So we've replicated the logo elements, the trade dress on the cover, and then the black and white. And then artwork on the inside is all black and white.
It's like Silverline never went away.
That's right. Yep.
Did it feel like that? Because you did shut down Silverline for a while. We talked about this last time you were on, and then finally, the madness settled back in, and you're like, I can't stay away this long. I got my comic again.
Right.
Was it like riding a bike, or was it like getting on the bike and finding out that everybody had bought motorcycles?
It was a little bit of that, not motorcycles though. It was almost like getting on the bike and finding out that it now has electrical power. One of those electrical assisted bikes, right?
Yeah.
So it's still a bicycle, and I still got a pedal, but there's this electrical assist now, because obviously creating the comic is pretty much the same. I mean, we have the technology now, so that like Tommy, who's the inker, he does so much of his stuff digitally now. Right. And so I had to kind of shift gear, but that wasn't that hard to do. You shift gears digitally. Oh, okay. Well, you're not drawing on paper anymore, right? You're drawing everything digitally. All right. Well, that's okay. Because I want you to, when you draw stuff on paper anyway, I'm going to ask you to scan it. Right.
Yes.
So it wasn't that big a deal, but the print on demand was a huge change to me. When I discovered Kablam, I'm like, wait, you can print how many copies? You can print one copy. That's all you if I just want one copy. And so I didn't believe it, right? I tested it. I'm like, okay, I just want one copy. Sure enough, they printed one copy. Here you go. I'm like, what? What? Because back
it was a lot more expensive to print the one.
It was. Yes.
For one, but
per unit is a lot more expensive. But you had to print 3,000 copies back in the day,
Yeah.
So when they started,
it was a manual process. It was offset printing.
Right. Yeah. So, it was that was probably for me the biggest shift, and that and distribution has changed a lot. And I think that's probably, you and I talked a little bit about that. I think distribution is really probably comic books' chief struggle right now is how do we get comics into the hands of the people who want them.
We're working on that.
Yeah.
And we're shifting that too. I'll tell you more about that later, but
cool.
I don't want to tell too much. I don't want to reveal too much right now because if everything doesn't fall into place, I'll look like a fool. But if it does fall into place, I feel like that Gary Larson cartoon where the two spiders put the little web at the end of the children's slide on the playground, says, if this works, we'll eat like kings.
Right. Yeah. So, when I first got started, there were more than a dozen distributors.
Oh yeah. I remember Friendly Franks.
Frank's, Capital City.
Yeah. Capital. So that's the one I'm trying to
bunch of them. Yeah. And that's just some examples of the interiors. And of course, then there's some black and white version. There's Team Beetle interiors by Del Barris and Jeremy Kahn. And then the Switchblade interiors by Leonard Kirk, inked by Chuck Bordell and colored by Aidan Belcher.
Now this has got a look to it here. It reminds me of the serious daily comics strips, like a Gil Thorpe or
yeah. Well, it's certainly got a probably a more serious tone than TRUMPS. I mean, it's just it's just a dude who puts on a mask and tries to take justice into his own hands. He gets fed up with the justice system, and so he takes to the streets to make it right.
Yeah, and it's not. I'm trying to look to see find him in costume and be back on the covers again. I guess it's exactly what would happen if a guy did put on a mask to take on justice.
Yes,
it's like I'm going to go stop this guy. Where's my ski mask? oh, do I need to get something? Can we get some spray paint? I need a leather jacket. I've got to put something on here so that, they know who I am. Like,
Right.
yeah, no, you would just put on a mask and go shoot a guy.
That's it. Yeah.
Or in his case, snicked, because, hence the name Switchblade. You do have some add-ons here too from some previous.
Yes. Yeah. We made a little video. I always had people saying, how do you do the add-on? So I made a little video. This is how you do them.
Do you want to play it?
Nah, it's too long. And it's, but no, hopefully folks will know how to do an add-on, because once you select your tier, it takes you to the page. Nothing like a well done vigilante. I agree. Well, I hope he's well done. Maybe you'll have to let me know.
Here's the thing about add-ons. It's less of a problem that the customer knows how to put them on. It's more of a problem, and yes, I'm speaking with a chunk out of my ass saying this. It's more of a problem knowing how to process them on the fulfillment end. Because Kickstarter will tell you, hey, you sold 5 of this book and you sold 2 of this book. Oh, and you sold this add-on and you sold this add-on. That does not mean you sold them extra. They're already counted up in the books that they gave you here. So, no, don't think that. Ignore those things. All you want to look at is your item list on the Kickstarter.
Oh yeah.
You don't care that it came in as an add-on.
Well, the first time they did audit add-ons, we really struggled with the fulfillment, trying to figure out what does this mean, and I actually had to go back to print a few things because we didn't have them, because we didn't order them that way. So, but yeah, I think we kind of on the fulfillment end kind of got it figured out now.
It's
and part of it is, as you can see, we offer a lot of add-ons. So there's the
original art's gone.
Well, some of it is, not all of it. Just those two pieces. The Switchblade cover by Dean is still available, and the inks are still available from Tommy. The two, that I don't have it yet, right? But as you can see, everyone knows Tommy's. It's already gone. They didn't even see it, right?
Didn't need to.
I think what happened is, I don't know. I think the same backer got the pencils and the inks. They're like, hey, I have the opportunity to get both the pencils and the inks of the exact same cover, so I'm going to do it. Just
put them side by side, and there you go.
Right. Yep.
So that was, I'm going to guess, pencils, traditional, obviously.
Yes.
Scanned, inked traditionally on top of the scan.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
And that's the thing about doing traditional art versus the digital art, even if you're just doing the pencils that way, is you have something to sell.
Right. Yes. Yeah. And we've got to the point, what we do now, RJ, we'll say, we'll go through the story, and even the pencilers were like, hey, this will make a good page. I'm going to pencil it traditionally. If they do digital work, right? They'll pick out some pages, and that's what Tommy does when he's inking. He'll go through it. He'll look at the pages. He go, digital. Ooh, this would make a good one for Kickstarter. I'm going to ink it traditionally. And so he'll ink, I don't know, 3, 4, 5, 6 pages, just depending on the artwork, traditionally, and do all the rest of it digitally.
Yeah. You got to know what's going to be your money shots.
And Tommy's been doing it for, 30 years. So he's got a good idea. He's, and that's what he always tells me. He's like, you writers, you less talking heads. I can't sell those pages.
Yeah. I hear you there, and the readers don't want it either. No, Quinton, if anybody's seen Quinton, I expect Quinton to pop in about 4 minutes before the show closes and blame it on
the time zones. Yeah, I've seen him a message. He saw the link, but I've seen him a message that says, "Hey, while we're in the studio, are you coming?" He hasn't seen that one yet, so. Maybe he's eating and thinking he's got another 10 minutes.
He's got plenty of time. Yeah. Leonard Kirk. Why do I know that name? I want to say Hulk, but I'm like, no, that's not right.
He did Supergirl for years.
That would be it.
Yep. He sure did.
He did that with Peter David?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah. I knew I was associating with Peter David, and I'm like, yeah, I know Peter always works with other people who don't have a single last name between the entire team. He Peter David and Gary Frank on Hulk, and then it was Peter David and Leonard Kirk on Supergirl. Like, we don't like Smiths or Jones or anything like that.
That's pretty funny. Yeah.
Yeah. Or just Peter's joke. He's the one who pointed it out. In fact, I think there was a time when it was like the writer, the artist, and the inker were all that way. He's like, not a damn last name between the lot of us.
That's funny. That's funny. Yeah, and so that's original art, and we've got T-shirts this time. Okay, now I will say that Team Beetle T-shirt is going to be a full color image. We just that image there is just a placeholder because we don't have it fully colored yet. It is inked now, but we don't have it colored. We opted to just kind of leave it there as a placeholder, but it's going to be in color like the others. We've been wanting to do T-shirts with figures on them, with characters on them for a while, because we've got the silver line with just the name on it, and our local vendor couldn't do it, and so yeah,
I was right.
What's that?
I was absolutely right.
There he is.
I said he's going to show up right before the stream.
He took a nap.
No, I was here and I was ready, and then my son, all of a sudden, he wanted to play Switch, and I had to work out the TV and all that kind of stuff. So
we just figured it was a time zone misunderstanding.
Yeah, always right before I have to do something.
Oh yeah, that's that's why you got to tell everybody in the house that you're going to do it an hour earlier.
Yeah,
and it throws all their panic clocks off.
You're right.
It's funny.
So okay, so let's start over.
Yeah. All right. Rewind.
No, we were just talking about how setting your story in a world of cards is how do you expand on that beyond the limits of the rules of card games, and why are there cards, and what happens when you have mixed marriages and all that kind of stuff. And of course, who did the book? I don't want to say the title because it might not have been a Silverline book, but I don't think it was. Okay. It was a come on, show me the picture. Okay, it was an Ultraverse book. Never mind.
Oh, Ultra Solitaire.
Yes, I'm like, let's get a crossover going.
Yeah. I think I want to say Barb might have inked Solitaire. I didn't have anything to do with Solitaire. That wasn't one of mine when I was there.
Well, you get my age, all the indie books, sometimes they.
Oh yeah.
It's who published that? Indie published.
Right. Yeah. Not Marvel and DC, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is probably most of the books today are not Marvel and DC.
I know. Isn't it cool?
I think you guys are way outnumbering them in number of titles.
If only we could get the comic shops to order them in those same numbers.
You know what? Here's the thing. This Kickstarter is at, scroll up all the way again.
We got to refresh it because you got the oh shoot, who was it? Dabs?
Bap2 backed it. I think he backed it before I saw it, because usually Kickstarter refreshes automatically.
Okay.
Yeah, so it had already refreshed. It's at 3,159 with 6 days to go, and we already know that you can get $2.5 million on crowdfunding for a comic book.
Right.
The bar has been set. The veil has been lifted. So everybody go do it now.
Right. Really.
Wouldn't that be cool if you could, though?
Oh man, would it?
Oh wow.
Yeah. How awesome. Yeah. Yeah, I realize that's another trail, but I don't understand the shape the guy's getting. So where were we at? The T-shirts? Yeah.
We were at the T-shirts.
Yeah. So I want to say, so anyway, the vendor who did our T-shirts normally here was a local one, and we told them what we wanted. They're like, we can't do that. And so we've been trying to find a vendor that everybody we found, they wanted to charge us like $25 a shirt. I'm like, we would then have to sell them for $35, for us to try to make any money. And then there was a question, well, do we just want people to wear them? Do we want to make a little bit of money on them? And it's like, well, we'd like to make a little bit of money on them, Yeah.
I know a guy.
Yeah, so that was, we just searched and searched and searched, because the other thing is that we could find people who, yes, we could do them for, I don't know, it was like $12 a shirt, but you've got to get, 50 of them. It's like, ugh. what am I going to do with 50 shirts? I'm going to be lucky to move, half a dozen on this Kickstarter. So, yeah, they're in our minds, they're priced to move. We want to see people wearing Silverline shirts that have some logos and characters on them, and we want to see those, at shows. In fact, we talked about, and I'm not sure I should say this since I know we're live, but BJ and I have kicked around the idea of, hey, what we should do something special for someone who we see wearing a Silverline shirt like this at a convention. We should come up with something special. Hey, you wear one of our shirts to a convention, come to our table. We'll have a gift for you. We just
That's a good idea.
Yeah, we haven't figured out exactly what that is yet. So we're still working on that. I think we are going to try to put something into play like that, but we got to figure out what it is. So it'd be cool enough that people say, "Hey, I want one," because I want that gift.
My brain is churning around on this now, and I'll let you know what I think of later.
Okay.
Something can come out of this. I've just got some wordplay going on. You are doing the shirts. I'm going to say the right way though, because this is a consistent design going across with the big red circle character Silverline underneath of it, and most importantly, character name on top.
Yes.
Because I've seen so many people crowdfund their character, especially on the first crowdfunder. I'm like, nobody loves your character as much as you do. Okay, that's
right.
This is something you've got to understand. So just because you think it's going to be really cool to have printed, 17 copies of your book, and you have T-shirts with your original character on it, it can look Todd McFarlane-esque on your shirt. And if you're walking in a crowd, everyone sees it who thinks, that's a really cool character, has absolutely nothing to go on when they sit down in front of their laptop to find out who that was.
Yep.
You can Google Team Beetle. You can Google Switchblade, but you better Google Switchblade and Silverline together.
You absolutely need to get the logo out there, the brand, any way that you can. And wearing the shirt, it kind of defeats the purpose if you don't have that, tagline at the top.
Yeah.
You got to have something that people can type in Google. No, I don't think that's exactly the lesson, is to hate your character if you want to sell it. But,
No.
and we got a hail from Will over at Creators Outlet. Good to see you,
Hey,
Will. Thanks for popping in
Will.
there. But yeah, is the line of T-shirts? You're going to have T-shirts for all the titles, right?
Moving forward, yes, we are. We are going to make sure that. Well, let me put an asterisk by that. Assuming that these turn out, because this is the first time we've done it, right? Assuming that these turn out good and well, and we're happy with them, yes, we are going to have them on every Kickstarter moving forward. Yeah,
I'll need to find out where Ted Serrata got his shirts done. Ted Serrata does Bloom and does A Palm of the Undiscovered Animal, and he did and Tap Dance Killer, and I've got 2 shirts from his books. And they're exactly what he promised. They're the softest material. The stuff's not peeling off after several washes. So
yeah,
and it was an affordable shirt, because if it wasn't, I wouldn't own it.
Right. Yeah,
because I'm broke.
Yeah, and we found a lot of vendors like that who were like, "Hey, it's not going to do these," but like I said, it was like $20-$25. So I'm like, well, no, that's too much for us.
Yeah, because you wouldn't have any. You couldn't make any profit on that. You'd probably be selling at a loss even.
Right. Yeah. And then what you're looking at right there, that's our backstock. We have kickstarted all of those books that you see right there. I forget the math on them, but we know that, or we hope that every Kickstarter is going to bring us in somebody new. And when they get to this point, they're going to go, "Oh, look at they did these other books too." Oh, there you go. Look at that.
Yeah,
Twilight Grim. I see Kalis. All right.
Yep. Some good solid books there too.
The other ones are in the box already in bags and boards now, because that's what I do after I read them. I got to file them away.
Yep.
That's how I can tell what I haven't read yet.
I need to get a system like that. I've got man, my shelves are just disheveled. Yeah.
You got a box. And of course, I'm running out of space. I mean, I can almost touch both walls of my living quarters here. But I told you, Roland, this is I rent this room, and
Yeah.
I've got right here. Hear that? That's my bed.
Yeah.
And here, my bookshelf, and there's my refrigerator. Closet behind me, that big standing zip up thing, that's my
Right.
wardrobe.
No, I
Wow.
thought you were saying it's the toilet or something. I was like, wow, this guy's
That's the only thing
committed.
that's not attached. Yeah, actually, I've got a commode right here.
Yeah.
You can't
Okay.
see it.
Yeah.
Well,
Every now and then during the stream, you hear the whoosh.
It's important.
Yes,
They don't call it the throne for nothing.
Yeah.
That's right. But yeah, I get 6:30 in the morning. I get move from here, sit to here, do the day job, get up, use that bathroom, come back, and do the night job. So
Yeah.
it's all a matter. That's when I start packing bags for people, printing labels, doing live streams.
Yep.
This is the fun work. One day it'll pay. Been at it for 10 years. It'll happen sometime. Roy Draws, hail the chat. Glad you're
What's
here,
up,
man.
Roy?
All right.
So
But
I
yeah.
get into the end of this. Oh, Sirens. That looks cool. That looks Golden Age.
It's not Golden Age. It is one of so you can tell our remix books, right? See the little X in the corner.
Yes.
Yep, that's our remix
My
books.
monitor's far away.
Yep. Which means that, and we've got a few of those. We've been trying to have one each Kickstarter for the last couple ones. What those are the black and white books that were published in the 90s, and we have digitally remastered them and have colored them. So these are our color versions of books that we did in the 90s. And we feel pretty well. We debated this a bit. We feel pretty good that there aren't too many people who saw those books still around. So
We're dying off, Roland.
it's all new to everybody anyway, right?
That's right. Well, it's like when Disney would re-release take their stuff off the shelf and then release it again 14 years later, 7 years later. They're waiting for the next generation to grow up and be new to them.
Right.
Yeah, companies do that all the time. They let lines rest for a while, and then they come back to them, reintroduce them. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Quinton, the artist, question for you here. How did you go about deciding what the characters were going to look like, given that there is this traditional image in people's heads about, the Queen of Hearts looks like this and the Jack of Spades looks like this. And, one of them has a patch over it. It doesn't have a patch over his eye, but he's a one-eyed Jack. Go
ahead. Sorry.
I was just going to say, how much did that impact your decisions on how to make the face cards look the way they looked?
Well, there was already one issue, or actually two issues done. I did book 3. So I was able to go back to those and study them and read them. And I really got into the story and everything. But I had also had like some previous artwork that was sent over to me from the original artist that had done the original concepts. And man, just stellar art.
Yeah.
I mean, just stellar stuff. I really enjoyed looking at all the rough pencils and all that stuff. And it just really inspired me, because even though you have the main characters and all those were represented in the concept art and everything, and in the other 2 books, there were new characters coming and tertiary characters that, you never really hear from in the story. And so I had to design those, and I kind of just used the others as my template, adding a little bit of flair to some of them, because there's so many different races in this book and so many different body types and stuff like that. I mean, in my book, the armies are gathering, and so there's a lot of shots of multiple people, multiple races, and we're talking races that look like, similar to Vulcans, and similar to one of them kind of looks like Ben Grimm. There's just so many different ones, but I tried to keep it within what I'd already seen in the, the concept art and everything provided. So tried to stick to it. So
yeah, you don't want your new character that you're getting to draw for the first time to not blend with the universe that's been established.
Right.
because I've seen things where they have, it's like a house style really makes everybody sort of go together. I found it very jarring, for instance, when I was a kid and they did the Superman Spider-Man crossover. I'm like, my brain didn't want to see both these characters in the same
Right.
panel. It wasn't working for me, even though they were drawn by the same artist, obviously. I'm like, no, it doesn't look
Yeah,
right.
those are two totally different characters. You got a powerhouse that's usually drawn pretty stiff, or straight up, upright, in Superman, and then you've got this other agile character who's not a powerhouse, who is all about moves and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I mean that's two totally different,
Yeah, it stayed
characters
with
there.
me even as an adult when I got the George Perez, Kurt Busiek JLA Avengers book. I'm like looking at that, I'm like, yep, there's a crowd scene. They're all mixed together, but it's almost like there's lights behind one of them because I can say, oh, it's all the DC characters, and I say that because I think for some reason growing up, I saw the DC characters as brighter in color.
Right.
The Marvel books did seem to have a darker palette to them in the way they were inked or over inked. I don't know. I got them all from the printing plant. It was just down the road because I lived there. It was easy. Every book, every DC and Marvel comic book. In fact, I think all the indie books in the 70s and 80s were printed in Sparta. So
70s, 80s, a lot of them, yeah. A lot. There was Sparta, then Brenner printing was a big one that printed out of Texas. They printed a lot of indie books.
And then I remember when the Teen Titans, the first Baxter book came out, and they started going to that Baxter format, which nobody even says Baxter anymore. They didn't print them in Sparta. They subcontracted to Canada, and the uproar, the local uproar. Foreign businesses took our work.
There was also Ronald's.
Ronald's.
Yeah, Ronald's was one of the printers. I'm trying to think. You mentioned trying to think of the printers that because there were several different printers, or a couple of different printers that were used. World Color was based out of Nashville.
Really? Because that was what it was called in Sparta. Was World Color Press.
I'm pretty sure the headquarters was in Nashville.
Maybe it was because
I'm not going to swear to it, but
well, the first cosplay I saw ever was when they decided to have a parade in town. It was World Color Press Day, and you had people dressed up as Wonder Woman and Superman and Spider-Man. That was kind of
wow
cool for me.
Yeah.
I bet I could probably find pictures of that on the internet too. I should find those and put them on my webpage somewhere just to preserve them. So we are past the hour mark here, and I don't want to talk too much more about what Silverline's offering on this because we have to come back tomorrow and talk about Teen Beetle. So
yeah,
we'll save that, and then we will see you again on Wednesday to talk more about Switchblade, and maybe I'll drag some cat and mouse out.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds fun. I think Quinton was talking about crashing John's party tomorrow, so he may join you tomorrow.
Come on in, man.
Yeah, if it's all right. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. The more the merrier. You can give it the whole company, man. Bring them all in.
And I saw that you had responded to my the fact that I got the dates already for the next ones, and so we'll set up dates for the next Kickstarters too.
I just here's my calendar, and you can see I just blocked the whole thing straight down. There it is.
Sweet, very cool.
Wednesday's gonna be fun. Wednesday, I'm going to be on the Submarine Treehouse at 5:00 Central Time, 6 Eastern. And then at 10 o'clock Eastern, I'm going to be on Dojo Coon's stream. Both of those going to be promoting our Indiegogo, The Devil You Know Better.
Gotcha.
A nearly 300-page hardcover, 20 stories signed by Mike Barron and Hart Fisher, $25.
Wow.
What a deal.
Wow, that is a deal. Mike Barron, cool.
Yeah, well, that's what I've done with all the anthologies we've done is because I did the trades.com. I worked for them for 20 years, almost 15 years, I'll say. And then they closed down and I formed Critical Blast. I've got all these relationships with Scholastic and Simon & Schuster and authors for, doing their reviews and doing interviews with them. So as soon as we did our first anthology, I was like, hey, would you participate for like, the nothing that we're paying? So it's
Sure.
not nothing. It's it's legally something, cash. But the whole point was that most of the people who submit are going to be new artists, new authors, still trying to get submitted somewhere.
Right.
And my goal was to have a book where they could say, I got picked up by an anthology. Okay, well, what independent anthology picked you up? Well, this thing called Gods and Services, this thing called The Devil You Know, this thing called The Devil You Know Better. And who else did they print? Oh, they printed Mike Barron. They printed Ira Bloom. Oh, just so it's like, they don't get to just say I got printed. They get to say I got printed with.
Right.
And it's working because some of the people that I had in The Devil You Know that were in there with Ira Bloom and with David Peterson and with John Delarose, I've seen them get published in other places now. So
Nice.
Providing that stepping stone, it's what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And that's what we're doing. Mike Barron is great. Just got his Thin Blue Line in the mail. Glad to hear the Thin Blue Line is getting out. That was a fun project. We did not do the fulfillment on that, but we did do a lot of the data processing for them on that to get their fulfillment to go faster. And that was the biggest one we've ever done. And what happens when you're in the data processing world, Roland and Quinton, is the big projects are where you find all the bugs in your system that didn't show up with all your little projects.
Yeah.
So it's like it was a big enough project to shake all the bugs out of the system, but small enough to where we could agilely get in there and fix it.
Yeah.
Before any damage was done.
I got a fun fact for you about Mike Barron. Actually, not about Mike Barron, but kind of about Mike Barron in a sideways kind of way. One of my very first ever published stories was a backup story in Nexus, in the Nexus comic book.
Very cool.
Which of course, everybody knows Nexus and Mike Barron. I wrote a Judah the Hammer backup story for Nexus.
That is very cool. Yeah. So, see, you got to. And that was one of your first ones, or the first one?
It was the first one. It was one of the first. Cat and Mouse was the first one, but it was second or third, something like that. It was real early in my publishing history. So
yeah, and Mike was already a name, a known.
Oh yeah.
quantity in the business
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
All right, gentlemen. Thank you so much for bringing Silverline straight to us tonight.
Thank you for having us.
Always glad to talk to you.
Forgive me for being late. I didn't realize how late I was because I didn't think about the time change. I thought I was just a couple minutes late, and then I got to looking at the clock. Wait a minute. The live clock has got 55 minutes. Oh, wow. So yeah, I thought I was like 5 minutes early. So oh well.
Yep. I told Rollins that he's going to come in at right about 5 till and think that we were getting ready to start.
I wanted to say one more plug for Trumps. If you do end up ordering shirts, make sure you order a size lower than what you are, because when I started this book, I was 282 pounds, and when I finished it, I was 170. So I lost 110 pounds over the course of drawing this book.
I want to draw the next book.
Yeah.
so Trump's caused you to lose weight.
That's right.
Yeah.
So if you read it, you might get a little bit of that. So if you order a shirt, make sure you get a size lower.
This book has not been
right.
Yeah, it's by the disclaimer in there.
As long as it doesn't cause anal leakage.
Oh
yeah.
There's no olestra in this book.
Right, yeah.
That was a crazy warning.
Yes, it was.
And which means that somebody actually complained about it.
Yes, that's the scary thing about that is someone had to have complained about it, and it had to have been a legit case. So they had to put that.
Yep.
They had to put that in their warnings.
Yep. This oil is so slippery you won't be able to hold on to what's inside you. Well, it was true. I mean, there's only one thing that leaks from there, and it's not water. All right. On that note,
right?
Yeah, folks in the chat, thank you so much for being here tonight. As I always say, we don't have a show without you. We're just a podcast falling in the woods. So we're always happy to see you out here. Be back here tomorrow night when we delve into Teen Beetle, and then come back Wednesday when we wrap up our 3-way extravaganza with Silverline and talk to Switchblade. And as always, while you were here, we just hope you had a blast. Good night.